School Huddle. I'm Ryan Aber, joined today by Bob Przybylo. Bob, it's been a big week in high school sports with football practices kicking off, a resolution to the Jarrett Lake appeal, and other fall sports starting their seasons. Bob, you've made the rounds at Edmond and some of the private schools. What's been the most interesting thing you've seen this week?
Besides the usual just position drills, I think the funniest thing has been from Heritage Hall, just talking with sophomore linebacker Mark Robinson.
Robinson was a guy who came out of nowhere last year. We'd heard about Barry Sanders Jr., but hadn't heard a whole lot about Mark Robinson, and he had a really good season.
And no one was shocked more than him. When I was asking him about it, he's like, my goal last year was to be starting for the JV team. At which point, Barry Sanders started cracking up because he was standing there while he's like, really? That was your goal? But, Mark is an extremely gifted athlete. He's put on about 20 pounds, and, he's not just starting for the JV or varsity team. He might be an all-state linebacker as a sophomore.
Yeah, I know he's a guy that we talked about in our preseason all-state team. And people obviously have known about Barry Sanders Jr. for a while, but some changes in store for him.
Yes, indeed. And he's excited about playing cornerback. He said his father played cornerback when he was in high school, which a lot of people probably didn't know. And he's done it a lot in 7-on-7 drills, but now he'll get to do it in the games, and he's pretty pumped about it.
That could be an interesting thing to watch, and Heritage Hall should be right at the top of their class again.
Oh, most definitely. Even though they lost so many seniors, and they only have 7 coming back, that sophomore class is just crazy good.
And you also made it out to the Edmond schools. What did you see from them? 2 of them replacing coaches.
And that was probably the most fun, just seeing how Justin Meredith at Memorial and Bruce Gowan at Santa Fe were running the team. No real big differences, but just fun to see them put their stamp on the team. And with Memorial definitely looking at Cameron Doolittle to make some huge noise this year. He kind of broke out as a sophomore last year, but now as a junior, I think he's really going to become one of the better players in the state.
And I got a chance to go over to Carl Albert on the first day of practice after sitting through the OSSA board meeting. And Carl Albert was an interesting place because they weren't on a field anywhere. They were in a parking lot behind their school. Their fields don't hold up to water really well, and they were out on the asphalt. And I tell you, it's awfully hot out there in the mid-afternoon humidity practicing on asphalt.
So did anyone dive and maybe scrape their knee and get that 3 to 6 inch scrape that you always hear about?
Yeah, no diving out there. Everybody was pretty tentative with their steps. They don't use blocking dummies at Carl Albert, which is something I found interesting. They use basically they look like big plastic garbage cans, and I think that's what they're made for. But Gary Rose likes to line those up as the opposing lineman and go through things like that, so he doesn't have to have his players stand behind him. So that was interesting. But yeah, no diving or running or slipping much. It was a pretty subdued practice at Carl Albert.
And I'm also interested in what happened at Star, since they normally do the midnight practice. Midnight Monday, Tuesday morning, the rain was coming down pretty hard. You talked to the Hall about that?
They were able to get a short practice in, not as long as they would have liked, but yeah, they've started to do that midnight practice. They have their kids and parents come in the evening, have meetings and parent meetings and things like that, and then they kick off with the practice at midnight. And I blogged about this week. I'm really surprised more schools don't do that and sort of make an event out of their first practice. Now it's sort of something that it just seems like gets pushed out of the way a lot of the times, and it's just the first of many practices instead of something that's truly special.
And you talk about the blog. Let's take a little time out to maybe plug the new blog system. We've started it this week. It's called the Varsity High School Blogs, and you can check it out on News OK?
Yeah, we're going to have blog posts from throughout the area. We've got blogs dedicated to the Oklahoma City schools, Putnam City schools, Mid-Del schools, Edmond, and Bob's going to be doing the Edmonds and the privates. I'm going to do the Mid-Dels and Oklahoma City schools, and we've got several others, so be sure to check those out. But Bob, thanks for joining us on the High School Huddle, and join us again next week for a new version of the High School Huddle, and we're going to break down and talk to different people that do each of these blogs every week and bring you more high school coverage, the best high school coverage in the state.